I've just got off a coaching call with the wonderful Rob Hardy. I'm feeling jazzed. So I thought I would come on and make a video and talk about a book that I'm writing. What? A book? Yeah. It's mental, innit? I never thought I would see the day where I got to the point where I'm sitting down writing a book. But here we are. Started with this. This is a book that my wife bought for me as a gift after finding it. She was staying in the youth hostel, the Euro hostel in Glasgow, and somebody there was reading this and she saw it on their bed and she was like, I wonder if Cams would like that. And it turns out I did. It's really good. Darren McGarvey is a rapper, a Scottish rapper who goes by the name Loki. And this book was on my shelf for a while after my wife bought it for me. And when I finally did get to it, it was really eye-opening. It was like, I think it's the first time I've read a kind of social history book or a politics book or anything like it. And one of the things that really stood out to me was that he considered himself as not a writer. And one of the things he kept repeating through the book was, guys like me don't write books. And the way I listened to the audiobook as well. It was read by Darren himself, and it was really inspiring, to hear somebody with addiction issues who's come through that into recovery, somebody from my part of the world, west coast of Scotland, somebody who's dealt with poverty and who's seen schools collapsing, housing schemes, drugs, all the kind of stuff that I grew up with. And so it inspired me, and it inspired me to look him up and see what he was doing then, because this was written 2018. So I did a Google search and I found an interview of him that was on the Trigonometry channel, and that started something quite big. I started watching more trigonometry videos. I subscribed to the Trigonometry podcast, which led me into a whole world of content around politics and around left and right wing, all that kind of stuff, culture wars, trans issues, all sorts of things that I'd heard about but didn't really know what they were and didn't really think I cared either, but turns out I do. And I'm curious whether this is because I'm 51 and I'm seeking meaning in my life, and that's partly why I do the stuff that I do online, videos on this channel, primarily about finding meaning and sobriety, and the morning pages that I write every day and put out on my newsletter, which you can subscribe to if you would like to, over at camscampbell.com. And that's a process that's become a habit for me now, that's become incredibly valuable, a really important part of my day. And I'm learning a lot about how to get closer to becoming the person I want to be. So through these processes, I feel like I'm finding my identity, my serenity. I'm starting to find peace and meaning. And I think that this sort of newly found hunger to learn more about politics, I guess, identity politics maybe, culture wars, or whatever you want to call it. It's, I think that's part of me trying to find my identity as well, to find my place in the world and to find the kinds of things I would like to use my voice to talk about, if that makes sense. So, one of the guests that were on Trigonometry was a writer called Yoram Hazony, and he talked about the rise of conservatism. Not the rise, that's the wrong word. About the rediscovery, that's the name of his book, is Conservatism, a Rediscovery. And his interview was really, really inspiring, got me thinking about a lot of things. And so one day I was sitting in the sitting in the old hotel building in Brodick, sitting by the fire with my Kindle book, reading Yoram Hazony. And I'd just been swimming, so I was feeling great. It was a good day. It was a Sunday afternoon. I was feeling pretty good. And after reading the book, I was on my way home, and the idea came to me that, I would like to know more about what wokeism is. What does it mean? And maybe other people out there of my age and generation are wondering what it's all about. Maybe I could write a book. It was inspired partly by another book that I read a few years ago called Conversations with My Daughter, A Brief History of Capitalism. And it was that format that really got me thinking about making a book myself about wokeism, and coming from it from the angle of explaining it to my daughter or to my wife. Because when I got home, I asked my wife, do you know what wokeism is? And she was like, no, not really. So I sent a message to my daughter and asked her, and she's like, is it not political correctness? I was like, well, yeah, it kind of is, but there's more to it. So that's what it's all about. So what I thought I would like to do here is, so this has been a bit long-winded, but this is my introduction of sorts into what I'd like to do a bit more of here, which is to document the process of my research as I go through reading articles, watching videos, reading books, having conversations with people, all of that stuff that's part of my research. I think it would be interesting to document that. I maybe put sections of the book out as they're written, out on my newsletter, as a way of, documenting the process for myself, but also as a way of bringing you along with me, because I think that would be interesting. One of the things I'm thinking about as I go into right versus left, in terms of political spectrum, is that I think my position, the work that I've done on myself as a recovering addict, of someone who's looking for meaning in life, is that I'd like to think I'm able to go into this arena without being pulled in either direction. Or if I am feeling that I'm being pulled in a particular direction, then I can analyse that and maybe figure out why that is and what it is that appeals to me about certain points of view and what other points of view turn me off, that kind of process. And I'm aware that I'm going into a highly emotionally charged arena, so there is that. I'm not very thick-skinned, so maybe it's a bad idea, but we'll find out. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be stepping into the arena. And if you'd like to come along with me, then this is a good place. I'll probably do most of it in video, but there will be some writing as well. If you want to follow that, hop on over to camscampbell.com and subscribe, and you'll get notified anytime a new piece of writing goes out. That's me for now. Hope to see you soon. Bye.